Good morning. I got a bit of sun this morning. Had a big long conversation. That was interesting. It's good to speak. I think it's good to get some sun as well. And I've discovered, thanks to my beautiful girlfriend, and I've done this before, but she's reintroduced it. Oat milk is a great pairing with Moccona. I'm a fan of dairy. I really am. I'm not going to give up dairy. Okay? Because I'm not going to. But I like everything. So oat milk pairs quite well with Moccona. It actually makes something that's actually like, it turns something that I wasn't. It's like, this is like methadone, and this is nothing against Moccona, okay? It's not coffee, like real coffee isn't that expensive, and I don't drink alcohol, and so, do you get what I mean? I'm not bagging out Moccona. I think Moccona is like a lovely coffee alternative, and for those that are the budget or on a restricted budget for whatever reason. But have it with oat milk. It just is better. It tastes better. I don't fucking care how many oats died or how many fucking cows died, because both dairy and oats fuck all the things in the soil. And this is what I spoke about yesterday, about the ants. Remember I spoke about the ants yesterday? And yes, in my garden that is being developed down yonder, there are 2 ants' nests, or is there one? I don't know. I need to speak to a entomologist. I hope that's right as well. I think entomologists study insects. And so I'd love to know what's going on there. Yeah? In a non-invasive way, because I respect their privacy. And so I think a lot can be done just by observing what they're eating, maybe do some, like they seem to. I'd love to. If there's an entomologist out there at any of the universities in Western Australia, I'd love for you to come and have a look at this experiment that's been running for 6 years now. Yeah, because it's interesting. I don't get any ants in my house at all. None. I did. There were ants in the house. And it's not like there is sugar on the bench. No ants. I think I've done a pact with the ants. Because I look after them, they look after me. I built their house. I built a fucking 2-story ant complex. I am a developer of sorts for how many? Give me an estimate of how many ants live in those 2 fucking, or the 1. Is it 2 or is it 1? Or is it 1 like... How is that? You know what I mean? And what type of interaction is that having above the ground and below the ground? Wow. Anyway, that's enough about ants. There's some things going on. Back in the old days, there was a thing, and you'll hear, like, if you look at death notices from 100, 200, 300, whatever thing, there's this word called consumption. And it means something, and I'm blank at the moment, because I developed with Google, I use my that's active memory or storage memory. Again, I'm just a lay person. But yeah, I use that for different things, obviously. And so I can't always grab those things. And even now, I've forgotten what I was even talking about. That's how this works. It's like flow state. It's very interesting. And if you dwell, it all vanishes like a fucking spinning plate. It's like, it's called something. But yeah, what was I talking about? Ants. Old consumption. the divide, the line in the sand in this unseen conflict that is escalating to quite astronomical levels has all types of things going on with it. I'm watching a fly drink from a bubble of water on the bench. It's really interesting. Sucking the water out of a bubble of water. I'm sorry, this could be called ADD, but is it? No, it's called expanding my attention to incorporate all pieces of information, including what the fly is doing in front of me, right? Because I'm mapping out this would be normally taken in notes, and then I might go over this 7,000 times, but now we have AI that can do that. It could be like, I think what Shannon's trying to say is this. That's we're there already. I just don't have enough internet connection to do that, and I don't have enough money. I don't have enough liquid money to do that yet. But I feel like, like that's gonna be okay soon. We're at this. Consumption is the status symbol in the Western world. And I think this is driven by the image. This draws from the fact that monetary wealth is an analog for physical prowess and masculine. And we will talk in the masculine, and because unfortunately that is a little bit the way the world works. Especially historically speaking, and so we need to take that into account. And it's based on sexual preference. Why men are obsessed with sex. I'm obsessed with sex, always have been. It's channeling that energy because gardening is sex. That's, like I said, it's sexy as fuck. So there is like immature archetypes of desirable men. And then there is a mature archetype. If we are all constantly pushed and stimulated like locusts into immature manifestations of masculinity, and then that is reinforced by culture, then women will desire that, men will compete to be that. And so my attempt in this is to elevate the... I'm raising the bar. And we all should do that collectively. We should all take a fucking big step up and raise the bar because we can, because we've never had a better opportunity in the entire fucking history of humanity to do that. So that's what you should be doing, and you might get more blowjobs if you do it, if you're looking for that type of thing. From men or women. Doesn't matter. Even if you are a man and you think you're a woman, it doesn't matter. Even that's a manifestation. That's just prettiness. You're just pretty. If you're a man and you want to be a woman and you want to have tits, then you're a pretty man. And that's okay. That's cool. And yeah, I'd probably fool around with a pretty man. And so prettiness is a non-competitive strategy for men to improve their sexual reproduction. So that's what it is. That's all it is. And getting a couple of fucking headlights installed is not exactly that drastic compared to body tattoos and things like that. So go for your fucking life, boys. If you don't want to play with the big boys, that's fine. You have that as a right and as a beautiful thing that should be protected. Women, you are in a different situation. Those things that you have are actually active organs, and they will come in handy if you decide to procreate, which comes as an instinct later on because we've been pushed down this immature pathway so much that women should be looked at differently. And then, yeah, so we have to have gender things. Sorry. Also, I probably should note that I'm not currently smoking marijuana, although I would love to be, because yeah, I like that place, but it's okay. I can do both. Most of my life have lived not under the effects of marijuana. I'm quite comfortable in both modalities. And I have to do these down to 10 minutes. I suppose I don't now. Habits. This is habitual behaviour because I'm, I've adapted to my restrictions. Some of them imposed, some of them I've imposed on myself. This is all the types of things we're going to have to get better at. And this is about this consumption. If we're consuming this material, you know what I mean? I was having a conversation about 5G being installed in Gin, which I'm okay with. And if I'm not, I will blow the fucking tower up myself. But we need to design our interaction with the world. And I think there's a million ways to do that, and like anything, it should be up to everyone, although we should maybe keep an eye out for people that are, and I think we do, probably, otherwise, I don't know. So, it's like, this is a great thing, it's like, hey, fitness world, make a treadmill or a fucking bike that plugs into your internet, and you got to fucking you pay for it separately, this is all separate, this is something you earn so you get to use it. Especially if you're just consuming. It's different for me because I'm trying to create a fucking media company from my shed. And believe it or not, or it could be a garage. In America, it'd be called a garage. Here in my garage, shout out to Ty Lopez. Yes, you helped me. You helped me a lot. You did. So thank you. Maybe you can take me for a spin in one of those Lamborghinis that you've got at one stage. Here in my garage, I'm trying. I guess it's a media company. Fuck knows what it is. It's just going to be what it is. And all the hurdles I've had are to do with that being legal and that being like. It's like, so this is what I'm getting to. That's already, today I'm not going well because I'm in new territory. And I ran straight into it. Head first, just running, sprinting into this fucking completely complicated thing to get as much information, as much notation into this phenomenon as I can, as quickly, while it's fresh in my mind, while it's raw, while it's so unfiltered by anything. And this is the highest level of observation and interaction with that observation, with your own interpretation. You need to do that. You need to go, and then you need to be free to do that. Yeah, and I'm not going to fuck around with them being like, this is public, this isn't public. No, this is for the in the public, whatever. And this is, you're observing my thought process now. That's it, that's all. So to intervene in that, call that misinformation, what the fuck what are you smoking? Honestly, get off the grass, cunts. And I don't mean marijuana, I mean get off, I don't even know. And I'll tell you what it is. You're on the green grass, the cult of flat green things. That's what you are. You're on a lawn somewhere. You think a lawn is nature, or you think a lawn and sometimes it is. In the places where that started, yeah, it is, but not here. No, it's different. And so you've been conditioned by images. because this is what I'm saying. When we're tribes, right? Tribal communities. There's all this thing about like tribal conflict, all this shit. These tribes knew each other. They knew each other. They knew figures from other tribes. Because each tribe, all the men were competing to be the whatever. And they weren't all competing to, it's not like leader. They weren't competing to be the leader. There's all different things. There's the warrior. There's the guy who does the best music. The guy who tells the best stories. There's the guy who gives the best blowjobs. There's the guy who fucking, I don't know, finds the best food. There's all different types of niches that, and not just guys, women have the same thing, but I'm less familiar with that because I don't live in that world. But yeah, guys would compete on these things, and it would be like fucking Australian Idol, Aboriginal, tribal version. It would have been the same. So the tribes around here, they would have known who the other things were, and yeah, they would have maybe gotten conflicts. And I don't know much about how much warring or raiding or anything was going on in Aboriginal culture. I would love to speak to an Aboriginal person who's well versed in all that history, and I'd love to have a great conversation with them, perhaps down in my garden or in the shed or whatever. Like I could sit here and have a fucking 3-hour long chat with you if I'm allowed, which I think I am, about that. And so, yeah, like competing football teams, like you would know, oh, he's the fucking guy here, he's really good at all that. And this happens now. I watched my son play footy, and I heard it. I can see that. I remember it from my day with cricket. You know who they are. You know who the other teams are. And so there's internal competition in the tribe, and then there's amplified competition. And a lot of it is egalitarian. It was ego, and it was status, and it was this stuff. It wasn't always violence. Violence is quite far down the track. You know what I mean? And guys do push those boundaries. So it's like, did the fucking player fucking go to the tribe and steal the chief's daughter? That's pretty fucking heavy level interference. Or trespassing, and then that might elevate to something quite thin. But it's just like, you know, they meet on a boundary and fucking swear at each other, and it's like, yeah, you'd forget about it after a day. But anyway, that's how that went. But as we went to larger organizations of structures, well, not as we went to, okay, all of these things are a spectrum of humanity. There isn't a superiority. And the king will tell you this. The king has the fucking hardest job on earth, right? And he was born into it. He didn't choose that. And so yeah, it's like same with the leader of it. It's shit. It's a shit job. It's better to be the fucking, you know, I'd rather be the pretty one, honestly. That's what. And it's funny, like and I think we're getting to a place where we can all just maybe scale that back a bit. And if anything of this extreme movement into this trans ideology that is extreme, or the extreme version of that, sometimes we need an extreme to make the middle feel more accessible to the majority. And I didn't write the rules, okay? And that's unfortunately how social conflicts sometimes need to be settled. So we need extreme ends so that the middle, the stable middle, is more accessible from both extremes. Okay, so it's comfortable. That is the sheep thing, but it's sheep on both ends. We're all sheep in some ways, and we're all wolves in some ways, and we're all loners in some ways. And all of those things contribute, and unfortunately, this is that. And although extreme, I would also say, thank God, and I think Jordan Peterson would agree with this, hopefully, unless there's some numbers I don't know about, a de-amplification of extreme All right, third one. So based on this competition between men and then driven by the desires of women, and that is, so the socially held archetypes that are most desirable by women will be competed in by men. Now, when we went away from just individual attributes, because a lot of tribal things was egalitarian and very low impact, and so you would have clothing and stuff, but most of it was on your independent person. So if you were, say it's a warrior culture and you were born short or disabled or something, although there's massive exceptions to that, all the way to the major exceptions in masculine history, like Joan of Arc, who is celebrated by men and women. And so, or either the boneless, if that myth isn't an amplification, if there was some type of bone, but that's not. I don't know whether that's held by Norwegian people or Norse people. I don't know. I'd love to talk to someone for maybe 3 hours about that. Okay, so there were ways. You could be stronger, you could be faster, you could be smarter, you could be more tactical, you could be more egalitarian, you could provide more good. There's all types of ways you can compete to be that. What happens as we get bigger is we start gathering resources, and then it becomes the structure you build. Because this tribe is a structure, and then once we go bigger than a tribe, then we get structures that are hierarchical, and so the actual structure is the different. That's what is viewed. And so the closer to the top of that structure you are, the more desirable technically that you would be. That's why I say Ragnar Lothbrok in the Viking series is the desirable one in that, because he has a full cycle. He goes from the bottom to the king and then dies in a very, like self-sacrificial way. Although it's a very nice story because there's a lot of ego and a lot of mistakes and bullshit, but he's kind of on this big nice arc to the ultimate warrior's death, like the death shouting revenge. And that I think all men that die with children in some way are doing that, even if they do it quietly. So yeah, that when the structure becomes the image that is desirable, then the competition starts on structures. Who can have the biggest structure? Who can have the most beautiful structure? Who can have the sexiest structure? And when I say structure, I'm talking about structure of humans. So a hierarchy of humans that are following a lead. And most of that was of a leader. So the leader of tribes is usually an advisor, usually an elders type system where they're just advising. They don't actually have authority. When we go to civilization, we get into actual structures of obedience or loyalty. Okay, like that's a lot of time loyalty. It's not all about power. It's about protection as well. So if you're a part of a kingdom, you're protected by that kingdom. You're not enslaved by that kingdom. You're usually autonomous, especially when there's allowed to be enough competing kingdoms for you to have that option. Okay, then all these things throughout history, these structures, because they're the way that the leaders have developed to strengthen and unify their presence larger than their own personhood is usually image-based things. This is clothing, this is symbology, this is ceremonies, this is all the things that we see throughout all the structures. whether they be religious or monarchs or even corporations these days, or governments, or Facebook groups. So all groups will use these things to reinforce the image of the thing. Now, the Renaissance was driven by patronizing the arts, because the arts, and this actually developed the arts, this was beneficial to both, because the patronage enabled people to specialize down artistic, which are non-life crucial skills that were allowed to be hyper developed to enable art and architecture and sculpture and music and literature and poetry, all these things down all different avenues. And so this is a symbiotic elevation of both, with the elevation of the structure by the ruler or by the delegation of like democratic rule as well, which is, this is a concept of a floating republic, is the concept of a leader, technically a leaderless floating entity of democracy, which is an experiment that I will continue to follow, I guess, and see how that goes. But anyway, this symbiotic patronage of art, this leads to the artists, like the Renaissance of the great masters, the artists, the Da Vinci's, the Michelangelo's, the Botticelli. Is Botticelli one? I'm a generalist. I'm not a specialist. So again, I'd love to talk to an art theory person about the masters of the Renaissance for 3 hours. That'd be great. Not for everyone, but I'd like it, so whatever. Now, this is where it gets complicated. This elevation to patronage by rulers, usually monarchs or powerful families, that delegate their power from non-positions of observed power, like kings. There are shadow, a lot of times, families that have influence on the greater systems around it. And they are in a symbiotic thing with rulers a lot of time, with kings, with governments, with corporations, all these things, because they provide other reasons. But to them, they're the opposite. So whereas the king holds his power by being in the public eye, these other things hold their power by not being in the public eye. But this is where it gets interesting, and I'm at 8 minutes 30, so this will be like a gentle introduction, and then I'll probably do the last 10 minutes on rounding out this base theory. So as this patronage and this allowance of specialization, because they were protected and patronized, so they were fed and watered and actually given social status, and all this rose, and it rose both. And the reason it rose both is because people enjoyed what the artists were doing, and then the rulers or the whatever would lift the status of the artist, and then they would contribute their work to the thing, and they would do it in a good light. This is something that's been going on for thousands of years, and as they got better, they developed skill sets that could exaggerate things and could and this was a period, but then could also show how the status, and so we have status symbols that were spread further afield by this Renaissance, by this amplification, by this detailed mastery of work that was patronized and allowed by the by the funding, by the rulers. Rising tide lifts all ships. Okay, fourth one today, and just as a little note, to get the storage to do this, I had to delete, without going into it, 40 minutes worth of something I did 2 weeks ago that could have been of major importance. In the position I'm in, I assume that is perhaps logged somewhere else. And if not, I trust that it's logged in my subconscious, because that's really what I'm doing. I'm thinking out loud here. I'm thinking out loud. I'm just trying to get really good at it so that when I think out loud, it's also consumable. This is what all the podcasters have really, especially Joe Rogan, have honed. And so, because I'm part of the podcast, The Revolution, mainly as a consumer, but I have been podcasting for over 10 years. And I have the original recordings of my podcast sitting somewhere, hidden, buried, in a secret cave that nobody knows about. Except Richard Branson. Because I told Richard Branson, because I read his book. I rode my bicycle to the Mundaring Library and I got his book. And when I did that, I recorded a podcast and I sent him a secret thumb drive copy, which he has buried on Necker Island, which I have not visited. I've not visited Necker Island, but I'd love to go kite surfing with SRB, because he has the same initials as my favourite Australian band, which is Southern River Band. Hang on. Southern River Band? Yeah, I love those guys. I also like the Little River Band. If there's one thing in my life that's missing, it's the time that I spend alone. Not really, I've spent too much time alone. I'd love to just go kite surfing on Necker with Richard Branson, with SRB. Maybe we could have a private SRB gig there and we all go kite surfing. You can teach me how to kite surf, SRB, if you want. And we can discuss this new university campus here in Gingin. The kite surfing capital of the world is Gingin Shire. Did you not know about this? Yeah, some hobbits told me that. I met them in the Shire, and they told me to tell Richard Branson remind him about the thumb drive that I sent him, and tell him about the fucking kite surfing capital of the world, which is Gingin Shire, also sometimes referred to as Atlantis. Doesn't that sound cool? Maybe we could do it at Lancelin. Lancelot, like Lancelot, but Lancelin. We could have a Virgin, Southern River Band, kite surfing, global convergence. Sounds good to me. And the most excited thing I am about that is that you are very good friends with Raygun, with Rachel Gunn, my favourite breakdancer in history. Used to be Channing Tatum, but now, no. Raygun stole my heart, although it was a little bit shaky at the beginning. Yeah, she's my favourite. And yeah, just quite a gorgeous, intelligent woman that can break down, that can move. What more could you really want? Although I'm taken, so yeah, and she is as well. What was I talking about? Image. Yeah, so when these masters started portraying these things, then this became, and then monkey see, monkey do, people imitate the people that are status, because that's like a loop, it's like a spiraling, it's like a fucking feedback loop that kept amplifying, which was okay. We had a lot of amazing things until we get to a point of chaos. Chaotic, like inbreeding. We had cultural inbreeding. Like feedback feedback or a microphone. We had image feedback, which we didn't know. When you do it with a sound, it goes meow, it makes that terrible noise, and you really know, and you turn it off quickly. Or someone pulls the plug out, or because you can die like that. You can actually die if you had a serious feedback. It could kill you if you're like AC/DC. But visual feedback, we didn't know because how could we now? But obviously, the ability to upload high definition fucking video and sound, audio visual, which is basically just reality miniaturized, which I'm trying to also make amends for and make it the appropriate scale. Not always, because I want to have a phone. It's like it's the special occasions thing. Yeah? It's for special occasions. Like people used to have their house, and the thing was like, what's the Queen coming to visit? So if you did say Camilla wanted to phone you up because you're turning 100, then this is the great way to do it. Then you have it. You have appropriate scale. That's because that's what it deserves, and it's wonderful. So yeah. Anyway, this image feedback loop led us to what just happened, and we're all a bit confused, and we're all a bit hungover, and we're all a bit fucking twigged out from it because most of you don't do this. I'm not anything special. I just picked up a guitar, started playing, and had to do stuff, and I had to do it for business, and so those two things unified and bounced off each other in a weird way. Most musicians aren't actually entrepreneurial, and that's good because look at this, look at this shit. You want them to just concentrate on their music, okay? I'm not an amazing musician. I just am relentless in my pursuit to do whatever the fuck it is I'm being led to do by my interaction with a higher source. And so, yeah, we hit the end. So now we need to all get comfortable with reality. The metaverse was a failed vision and an inevitable failed vision because inevitable. There is no guilt that should be felt by any of the developers who were developing down that line. It was actually we had the concentrated effects of 10,000 years of civilized history, potentially even more, focusing on a utopia where we could create a bazillion universes. But that would inevitably all lead to us all stuck in a box. Or stuck in a fucking, honestly, it was terrible. So this is the cure. And I think we subconsciously know this. If you look at the Matrix, he touches a mirror, you know what I mean? I yesterday symbolically tried to smash that mirror, and I threw something at it really fucking hard because I thought that was what I was meant to do, and it didn't break. So I took that as wonderful because I don't want to destruct things, and I don't want to have to put another one there, and it's vandalism of my own property, and that's shit. I was quite emotional, and it was quite an intense moment, but it was beautiful because it didn't break, and so that had a message of its own. But yeah, now we're in the scenario where we have everyone, it's like the playing field is leveled. We have everyone on Earth able to present their own masterpiece. And this is what I've always thought Facebook is meant to be. This is the idea of Facebook. It's a yearbook. Well, it's not. It's like a yearbook, but it's actually a life book. It should be called Life Book. Drop the. What goes around, goes around, goes around. Sorry, that's how my brain works. You get used to it, or you won't. It should be called Life Book, and it should be like that little. We didn't have yearbooks, and I didn't even finish high school, so the little phrase of like, "I'm gonna be president," or "I'm gonna fucking," I don't know, save the world from a visual feedback loop. I'm the Antichrist. you can keep going. You don't need to stop at high school. You can keep going on that life book. Right. When a dead vampire count tells you to shave, you fucking shave everything. You don't have to, but like I said, when a dead fucking count tells you to shave, you shave. A lot of this is movement, a lot of it's movement. I won't even do a lot of things in that sphere because it is too, I'm not a stripper. I'm just fucking not. Keep all that, you know what I mean? But yeah, there's like taboo movements that we have because I think there's a subconscious fucking homophobia. I think it's subconscious. This is what you didn't get. This is what the LBG didn't get. It's subconscious. It blows below our conscious, especially in my generation, which I'm almost 40. So say the average age is 80, I'm the representative of half the thing. I know in my generation, we're not consciously homophobic. We're unconsciously homophobic on ourselves, which isn't homophobia. It's on aesthetics and movement. And it's like, here, ready? I'll touch it. Oh, the drag queens, what they've been saying the whole fucking time, they're trying to get us to reinvigorate our aesthetic and our movement, of course, and our expression. They sing a lot, or they mime. But it's too fucking sexy. It's too sexy. It's like a fucking weird. I wasn't allowed to do it. I wasn't allowed to develop because I had children, and I was actually I can't say monogamous because I was a bad boy, but it was committed. I was in a committed relationship in my interpretation of it and my external interpretation of what I was being told. I thought I was doing the right thing. Okay? This is all complicated. You don't understand. You also, if you're 27 and you're sitting there having a latte and you've never fucking even babysit a fucking child for thing, what you need to understand, by the time I was your age, I had 3 children and their mother, and I was looking after them all. Yeah? And that responsibility and all, like, that was manifesting me so tight, like a fucking tight little drum, that I had to just keep doing these fucking things to provide the fodder for your fucking welfare communist state. No, that's not going to happen. And it's only once that goes to an extreme measure and with a bit of help from marijuana and the confidence, things to stretch, all this shit, then I'm freed into a integrated male, masculine, feminine thing, which like I can fucking steer that. I'm a bit of an actor and a bit of whatever, so I can go any direction. I could go full on. I could literally give me fucking 6 months, and like I probably wouldn't do hormones at this stage. I just can't be fucked with that. It feels a bit. Yeah, I wouldn't do that right now. But I'd eat. And I was pretty strong and fucking big at some stage. If I just ate shitloads and lifted bullshit heavy things, I'd be huge. 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 I've never even eaten because I couldn't afford it because I was feeding 5 people. You're not 1, 5, and all the other shit that goes with it. You fuckheads. Aesthetic movement. Yeah, we're not enemies. We're all in this together. It's just we have subconscious shit that we didn't know about, and this is what I'm saying. This is this visual feedback loop fucking catastrophe. But it hasn't been that bad historically speaking.
And yeah, something like I do all this. Some things I'm not. It's not for that. I'm fucking unless you pay me shitloads. Yeah, and the red light is on. Woo woo. No, I'm kidding. Well, kind of. I don't know. I don't know how much I'm kidding about that. Who knows? But yeah, I don't hate gay people. I never have. This is this dumb thing. No one I know. No one. Even the scariest, craziest looking fucking people that fucking, you know what I mean? They don't fucking hate gay people. No one does. Unless you're a part of an extreme fucking offshoot thing that does religious things. Like, no one fucking hates yous at all. No one hates lesbians. Lesbians are my favourite people because they're women, they're hot, sexy women that think like me. And so I trust them inherently. And I'm never competing with them either. Usually, if there's a lesbian, like, I'm usually more attracted to the more, like, I don't know, it's complicated. I'm attracted to both, and they're fucking awesome, and they get a bit, like, you know, they're men, kind of. They're kind of men, and so they protect, it's just fucking, you know, it's stupid, it's all dumb. But I'm sick of the burden landing on fathers. And then even worse, the burden landing on fathers to provide your fucking welfare bullshit. And we're not going to do it. Yeah? We're never going to do it. We're going to kill. No, we're not going to kill. And there's no killing. But we're going to, I don't know, we're going to fucking blow up anything. We're going to blow up and show up. We're going to do, it's not going to fucking happen, okay? So we need to all work together. And you need to understand that if you've been allowed to manifest your beautiful butterfly fucking metamorphosis into whatever the fuck the internet told you to be, yeah, it's because you've been allowed to do that because you have zero responsibilities. You've never have. Your responsibility, if it like you would probably see that as a hideous vampire, blood-sucking alien creature from like you've never been exposed to it, and I was born in it. I was born in responsibility, you cunts. So if you don't have responsibility, be appreciative. Just be appreciative, please. If you're sitting in UWA business school or science school, right, look out the window and then realize when I was your age, I was lifting that fucking shit in there and then going home and bottle feeding babies and changing nappies and getting bottles of fucking whatever thrown at me in fry pans, which I deserved a little bit, although, you know, I wish, and it, you know, it enhanced my reflexes. I was a cricket player, so that's how I was like, I really didn't take it seriously, and I got warned. I got warned that I should have. And I didn't even take that warning seriously. I was like, nah, fuck, who cares? I'm getting good at dodge. It's like dodgeball. And I think my dad had the same story. His mum, my dad used to tell a story about his mum and where they would sit at the dinner table and eat dinner. And behind my dad's head, because they sat at the same place, on the wall was just holes and because his mum would throw fucking plates, cups, knives, forks, bricks at him. And that's why his nickname was Dodge, right? His nickname was Dodge because he dodged shit that his mum threw at him. And, you know, Dad's not here anymore. Can I have that name now? Dodge? No, that's my dad's name. He named me Shanks because he entrusted me with holding the king's dagger. But that's all it is. Be appreciative of the lack of responsibility, and maybe take up a bit of that responsibility because that's even sexier than all the other things. It's like that's way sexier. That's way sexier if you're a man or a woman, and you take responsibility for your own life. That's fucking really sexy. It's sexy in that nice way that feels good, not in the way that feels a bit like yucky. It feels nice, not yucky. Yeah? Movement, And aesthetics has nothing to do with gender, nothing to do with a lot of the things that you've all been talking about. Because I like to stick my nose in to conversations with other people, because I think that's the next dimension we're going to go to, and we'll get better at it. So I'm listening to Jordan Peterson's recent podcast. Part of me assumes that I don't even need to upload these. I wish I could just get, like, if my phone could just flash at me. Like, if it could just flash its flash. No, we're not there, Google. We're not there. You're not going to admit that you're fucking spying on me. Fuckwits. Even though I know. Even though I could kill you all with just a gaze. And they said something about the vaccine mandates. And they're two gentlemen that are more mature. So I always listen respectfully to my elders. But I want to throw my fucking... Can someone just tell me what you throw in the ring? I think it's a hat. And now I have to... Fucking honestly. Or just give me some fucking data or something so I don't have to go sit on the top fucking step and hack into my mum's fucking Wi-Fi. Or it's not hacking. She's happy to let me use it. Please let me use it. This is fucking disrespectful. It's disrespectful to my fucking position in the Department of Sport and Recreation for the government of Western Australia. And I want to blow my whistle. That's the problem. I haven't presented like my generation. I've presented like the wrong thing. Because if this is how it'd be like, then maybe my generation would listen to me. The issue from my perspective of someone that put up a big fight against the vaccine mandates is there is an assumption that we're doing things right. And although I now strongly have a confidence that we are always trying to do things right, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So we need to be realizing that the abundant resource of skeptical minds in all regions, whether it be Australia or Canada or the United States or fucking Afghanistan or Russia or China, is an amazingly important and valuable resource, because we are making mistakes everywhere, all over the place. And so that is my problem with vaccine mandates, okay? And like I said, hey, if you've all got a problem, you don't get to tell us what to do. If it's really that fucking crazy, if you're all losing your fucking minds about vaccines, right? You need to provide us with a place and a form of communication so we can create parallel experiments that are egalitarian and highly communicative. And that would have been a better strategy for this extreme intervention experiment that you all did. Like certain diseases, certain pandemics, and this is where I'll even address Billy fucking Gates, who I respect, okay? A lot of what I hear is hearsay, and that's bullshit, okay? I can't help but connect some dots, and I assume... No, I don't assume. I know certain things, and there's about 50% of what I say I pretty much know, and then 50% is, of course, hearsay. In highly urban areas, the chance of, urban derived pathogen phenomenon could be a problem. don't get to play games in the city outside of the city. This is the most important paradigm. We need to change some legislation to do with this, because cities are losing their relevance in this age, and they will increasingly lose their relevance. We are going to inevitably have townships re-emerge and thrive, and there'll be mass migration, local like what's it called when you're inside the country? Domestic migration, because of what's coming, because of this amazing thing that we're going to get from this bullshit. And so that's the main, it's the main conflict I've been sitting on for 15 years. It's like, the reason I didn't trust you with what you were doing and the mandates, and the reason I fought it so much, is because it is the core principle of the fact that I've spent voluntarily countless amounts of energy, hours, research, everything into this, the principle of this argument. And I know we're fucking a lot of shit up across everything. It's like that in my industry, although sometimes it's like, oh, shut up, fucking, can't see it from my house, this kind of fucking mentality. No, we can't. We need to respect, and it's not even whistleblowers, okay? Because I don't work for Farm, I don't work for the government, I don't work for anything. You imposed into my space, right? It's the core principle. If you're going to create these things and make these things, then you need to provide alternative spaces, okay? I'll take wherever, as long as it's fucking inhabitable, and then you then have to give over that region to those people and let them run that experiment voluntarily, like you all did, if we ever get to that again, right? Because it's insane. Or maybe because this is going to be a geographic thing, so we need to create regions, and then we need to migrate to regions that are aligned with those core conflicts that are more than likely going to arise, unless we have a massive flick back. And that's why we need to take the temperature of society. We need to really accurately take the temperature of society right now. What does everyone think about this? Yeah? That doesn't need to be a royal commission. That needs to be a referendum. That needs to be a vote by the Australian people on a scale. And maybe instead of a vote, maybe a suggestion box. Hey, what are the core things? We can do that now. We can say, do you agree with the thing? Do you think it was good at this level? Maybe 1 to 10. Right. What are your core grievances? Maybe have suggested lists, and then have additional lists. And then we can get all that data and get a snapshot in time, like a census, of how the people felt about it. Because we live in a democratic constitutional monarchy of Australia. That I'm almost certain would be the path forward. And it's dead easy. It's easier than everything else you've done. And so, yeah, rather than calling it a war, it's not a war. It's the most observant, diligent people that are working on these problems that no one wants to fucking look at and deal with. They were the ones that were attacked. And that is a suicide mission. By its very nature, it is a suicide mission. And it's a suicide project. And I'm hoping it's like the gender thing, it's unconsciously a suicidal blind spot of our society. All right, now I'm going to have to literally just like, this is where like, oh, I'm just going to have to smudge this all into one big fucking file and stick it up on YouTube. Because I can't be fucked. I cannot be fucked. Okay? Anymore. This doesn't work. It doesn't work without interaction. And to go and